Merry Christmas and welcome to Catholic Answers Live. I am Cy Kellett, your host, and we continue with our celebration of the 12 days of Christmas with lots of days of great programming. That's what we're doing to celebrate the days of Christmas. Great programming. We always finish the year with two just wonderful shows where we get to reflect on I don't know if winners and losers is the right word, but we get to reflect on those who were celebrated and those who were the opposite of celebrated in our big end-of-year survey that we do with our Radio Club members and with our Society 315 donors. So thousands of people have the opportunity to participate in the survey, and we ask them all kinds of things. We ask them things ranging from who's the Catholic person of the year, who's the person of the year, what's the big news story of the year, what's the big Catholic story of the year. Sometimes those are the same thing, but not always. And then we get, the day before the last broadcast of the year, we get really smart people to come in and comment on the big stories of the year. And then the last day of the year, we get Chris Check and Joe Heschmeyer to come in and comment on the big stories at the end of the year. So it's a nice little a tradition that we have developed here. We're really grateful to everyone who participated. So you get to just relax this hour and find out some of the winners in the big categories this year, including, the TV and movie show. We added that. We changed some things this year. So the TV show and movie, not TV and movie show. The TV show and movie and some other categories for this year. And we welcome the smart people now. First, farthest from me, Tim Ryland, the editor of the Catholic Answers magazine. Hi, Tim Ryland.
I think I'm here on the wrong day, Cy.
You're on the Smart People Day. Tomorrow is Chris and Joe. Today's Smart People Day.
At least one of us.
And also the director of publishing here at Catholic Answers, Todd Aglioloro. Hi, Todd.
Hey, Cy. It's always a pleasure to be the warm-up act for Chris and Joe. I look forward to it every year.
That's what you are, right? You're the warm-up. Some of the greatest acts in history have opened for the Rolling Stones. So sometimes the opening act is the good act.
All right.
Okay. You know what I'm saying? Like ZZ Top used to open for the Rolling Stones.
Wow. Really?
So you're like the ZZ Top of.
We got to get Jimmy in here.
Yeah, I was going to say Jimmy has to be involved somehow.
Does look like, but I feel like I want to start off with the biggest news of the year, really. And I know that's the backwards way to do it, but the biggest news of the year that we all, it's a great cause of celebration, really. It's good that the biggest news of the year is positive news, and that, of course, is that Tim Ryland got married. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cy. I was waiting with bated breath. What a letdown.
No, don't tell your bride that. What a letdown.
No. She's not a letdown. The news might be a letdown to people waiting breathlessly to hear something exciting.
But congratulations.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Congratulations. What a wonderful thing.
Blessed beyond belief.
Yeah. Marriage is a good thing. You've always been a big supporter of marriage, Todd.
I have, yes. Alone among my peers. Sorry to wake you
up for that.
I'm also a supporter of chocolate ice cream and puppies and other good things. Yes, I am.
Very, very good.
Special.
Todd asked me how, before we do these shows sometimes, how much of a smart aleck he can be. That's too much. Okay, I just want you to know that.
I went over the limit
That
there.
went over the line.
Good, that helps me.
Right. If you want to make fun of what Tim says, perfectly acceptable. You want to make fun of what I say. No. Tell us, the magazine, though, looking beautiful this year. How are you feeling about the magazine? It has had some changes.
Yeah, it's had some big changes. We went to a new paradigm about a year ago. Our subscribers, paid subscribers, got folded in with anyone else who supports us in any way.
Yeah.
And just ask for the magazine and you'll be getting it. We went through a change in the format, in the content. We folded a quarterly newsletter into the beginning of it that talks about the apostle, which seems to be pretty popular. And we went from, over 3 times the number of people that we're reaching with it. So that part is real exciting to me.
Yeah, right. Because that magazine is an indispensable tool for people who want to be, you want to engage in this kind of explaining and defending of the Catholic faith. Mm-hmm. Often perennial issues taken in a new way, but also the world is constantly presenting us with new issues that we need a Catholic response to.
Yeah, it sure is. In fact, the latest issue that will be in people's hands, hopefully for the next couple of weeks, has one of those articles I'm real excited about. It's actually a transcript, modified transcript of the address that was given out by our keynote speaker in September, Bishop Thomas Paprocki.
Oh, yeah.
And it's an excellent.
Wait, I think. Is my phone in here? Somebody's directions are on.
I think Bishop Paprocki's coming for me.
Did you hear that? Like, I don't have my phone on me. Do I? Did I leave it in here? So, well, something is giving us directions to this building. And I sorry, you're all like, and the magazine's really good too.
Thanks.
In addition to the directions of how to get to the building. Merry Christmas, everybody. We're having a little too much of the eggnog, apparently. And
or not enough.
I think it's my phone is somewhere in the studio, but I can't see it. So if you want to come in and look for it, you guys are welcome to come in and look for it and see if you can find it and turn it off.
We'll blame it on the people off camera.
This is probably a bad thing for me to say. You do so much great work on the magazine, and it has and constantly improving. I still love the little questions in the back.
I know you do, Si.
I love the little, but maybe it's because of short attention span.
Well, I always find it, after you've been in the men's room.
Just
right there to the quick questions.
We do keep copies of the magazine.
We do.
Every time. How do you feel about that?
I have very mixed emotions when I walk into the men's stall and see the Catholic answers all lined up.
Did they leave it here? Or
I think it's a backup for the toilet paper.
Now that's not right. Like the old Sears catalog. Oh, I found it in my pocket. I do have my phone here. I'm sorry, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Yeah, we try to save our best programming for the end of the year. So in a moment, my wife will be calling. And Todd, what about publishing this
Why
year?
do you have to do Google to get the directions to work? How long have you worked here, Si?
It's pathetic, isn't it? Like, I've worked here 6 years. Yeah. I do this commute every day, but I can't remember how to get here.
Boy.
No, it's because I was cutting it close today because I was tallying this morning. So I did my tallying at home because I had to tally up the this is how it works here. You do your own work. There's nobody here to do your work for you. So I had to tally up the results of our survey.
The poll.
And so I told Darren, I'll do it at home, and then I'll come in when there's less traffic. Well, then I was like, oh, shoot, I'm leaving late. So I put it in Google, not to give me directions, but to tell me what time I'm going to get here.
All right, I like the story.
I do know the way here, Todd.
Right.
He doesn't seem to be convinced that I know the way to work.
Look, it happens when you get older, Si. It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
Oh, my gosh. There's so many things people say that to me about. But tell me about the publishing this year. Can you remember it, Todd? You're getting very old. Can you remember anything that we published?
The difference in the two of us is that I admit it, see?
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, we published a lot of great apologetics books this year. We just put to bed a number of our spring titles that we're pretty excited about. One of them is kind of a step out for us. We mostly do apologetics and evangelization.
Yeah.
We're a niche publisher. Every now and then, when the occasion comes, we do something more in the spirituality vein, so we've done one of those for the spring, and it's by our friend Father Sebastian Walsh, who's I think a guest every now and then.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Very popular guest here. Yeah,
and he's written a book about understanding and living the Beatitudes.
Yeah,
called Heart of the Gospel. And I'm kind of a crusty guy when it comes to spirituality. I don't do a lot of spiritual reading, certainly not as much as I ought to. But this book really softened my heart and was very edifying for me on a spiritual level. So we're excited to bring that one out in February. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a real find. Mm-hmm. He's gotten some good books out of him.
Mm.
Yeah, really good books. All right. Well, I can't believe it. It's already time to take the break. So we're gonna by the end of this program, we will announce the Catholic Person of the Year. But have you either of you got a guess of who the Catholic Person of the Year is going to be? It's actually a hard year. Like the year that I hate to keep bringing this up, but it traumatized me. The year that the guy threw the Pachamama into the river, there wasn't really much debate. That guy won by
That's
miles.
right, I remember
People didn't
that.
even know his name, and I still
Yeah.
I don't remember his name, and I apologize for that. But because you should remember people's names, but I can't even remember how to get to work. All right, so, but that guy won that year because he threw the Pachamama in the Tiber. And then he won the next year. He didn't do anything. They were just still so happy about the Pachamama getting thrown in the river that he won 2 years in a row. So, but we don't have anybody like that. Like, this is not a year where you go, it's just obvious who it is. You know, there's some, you know.
Well, are we doing it like of the most influence, like the best or worst, or is it just like the best Catholic?
No,
Because
it's
Time
not.
Magazine will put
Hitler was banned of the year for Time once.
Right.
Yeah, and I actually approve of that.
Okay.
I think you should do the most impactful person
Yeah.
of the year. Now, I don't approve of Hitler. I didn't want that to come out that way. I just think that in journalism, you should
Yep.
just kind of go for it. Just say who had the biggest impact. And like the year that 9/11 happened, Time Magazine kind of chickened out because it should have been Osama bin Laden, but that because clearly
just couldn't do it.
But they
Yeah.
couldn't bring themselves.
Right.
There was too high an emotion. Some people would have stormed the offices. But do you disagree with me on that, or how do you guys?
I
feel?
agree completely.
I
yeah.
agree.
Oh, you do really? Oh, you guys are big Osama bin Laden supporters.
Love
huh?
that guy,
I
man.
mean,
I'm
I
more
don't
of
want
a
to
Hitler
twist
guy.
your words, but yeah, but I agree. So I think Catholic. We don't tell people anything else. We just say name the Catholic person of the year. So it can be
Okay.
bad or good, whatever. So you got somebody bad in mind? You're like.
I wouldn't call you bad, but I think you're a
I-
mixed bag.
So I get your vote for Catholic person of the year. Well, thank
Well,
you.
let's see what happens in the next
Do you
40
have any
minutes.
guesses?
Can we
or-
do it after the break?
Yeah, we can do it after
All
break.
right.
Sure, we can.
I got to think about this.
All right, you need Google? You want me to
Ask
Go,
Waze.
It's going to be a great show. We're going to be searching Google throughout the next 2 hours. All right, it's our super fun end of the year programming has begun. We do a survey each year. We ask the members of the Catholic Answers Radio Club, which you can join for free, and you get cool stuff for joining. And we have now included members of the Society 315 because that's a big group of our sponsors and people who are connected to us, you know, by supporting us and listening. And we ask them a whole bunch of questions, 14 questions, I think, this year. And we'll start when we come back with the Synod on Synodality question. But we got a whole bunch of things like the pro-life person of the year, the Catholic person of the year, the Catholic trend of the year, both positive and negative we did on that. So lots of fun still to come with Tim Ryland and Todd Aglialoro right after this on Catholic Answers Live.
Hang on, Catholic Answers Live will return in a moment.
Are you a coffee drinker? If so, you can now enjoy a coffee roasted to perfection by the Carmelite monks of Wyoming. Delicious Mystic Monk coffee is roasted and prepared by monks in a hidden cloistered monastery and is available in over 25 varieties. All Mystic Monk coffees are works of perfection and labors of love. For more information on how to purchase Mystic Monk coffee, visit mysticmonkcoffee.com. That's mysticmonkcoffee.com.
Faith is a precious gift from God. As the largest religious media network in the world, EWTN has an important role in educating others about our Catholic faith and spreading the good news of salvation. We invite you to explore our numerous pages of historical faith documents, prayers, teachings, and other current issues in Catholicism today. Visit EWTN.com and click Catholicism. EWTN, the Global Catholic Network.
Welcome back, Catholic Answers Live. I'm getting old. I need Google directions to tell me how to get to work, even though I've worked here for 6 years. And I didn't realize, I forgot to tell you guys we were doing Catholic Person of the Year. So that's kind of a big...
Cut on.
you caught on now? Well, that'll be for the end of the show, so you have time to prepare yourselves. But do you have guesses? I didn't realize I was springing a new thing on you. I left it off the list, and that was just dumb of me.
We're so good at that, though. You can spring anything on us.
I was just
Yeah.
telling Tim before the show that the older I get, the less extemporaneous I'm capable of being. I have
Oh,
to
I
just
know.
plan
Isn't that
everything
true?
out. Yeah.
Yeah. I went to my 40th high school reunion and talking with the guy who was the funniest guy in the class, and he said something funny, and I tried to come up with a funny, and I literally paused for, I think it was 6 minutes of, I was like, man, I'm
not
lightning fast.
Not you, Si.
But you're still trying to impress the guy who was funny when you were 17,
Oh, yeah.
you know, even though And I love the guy. He's still making the same really bad jokes he was making. But it was funny then.
Still funny?
Not
so much.
Funnier than I am.
Okay.
Let me put it that way, because I could
quicker
come up-
than you are,
Yeah,
anyway.
and then I just kind of went, I had COVID. That's like an excuse. Like I got a slow brain now. I had COVID.
Nice.
So, do you guys have any guesses on the Catholic Person of the Year? I'm not gonna. Whatever you say, I'm not gonna react in any way.
Well, Tim and I had the same guess.
But I changed mine.
Oh, you changed
Yeah,
yours?
I don't want to be in concert.
I understand that.
All right. You sound like Brian Wilson.
The later Beatles, I'd prefer to be.
Oh yeah, that's true. Wait, you don't like Brian Wilson?
I love Brian
Oh,
Wilson.
oh,
He's
okay.
a genius.
Yeah, Pet Sounds really is as good.
fantastic.
It's one of those albums that really is as good as they say it is.
Yes.
You don't agree?
Oh, Pet Sounds, Pet Sounds, Pet Sounds. That's all we ever hear is Pet Sounds. He's all right.
Caroline No is that thing makes me I start choking up every time Caroline No plays. Okay, so let's start with Todd then. Since
At least you didn't say God only knows, so that's good. One more for you there.
I'm gonna sing it now.
I would say the guess, trying to kind of put myself in the mindset of our listeners, I would say Archbishop Corleone.
Oh yeah, because of
Because of his courage in promoting Eucharistic coherence with politicians.
yeah. Boy, you did that whole answer without saying the name Nancy Pelosi. Good
Nancy
for you.
who?
Look at that. What a good.
Yeah.
How quickly we forget.
Yeah, I think that.
Just
okay.
trying to keep the IRS at bay. You know.
Well, so what did you switch to?
I came at it from the opposite direction. I'm going to have to say Joe Biden
Yeah,
because
right.
of the incoherence
Yeah,
that
right.
Seems to have,
I mean, if you're Catholic
sprung
and you're
from
the
this.
president of the United States,
Right,
one
and-
way or the other, you're in the running for Catholic Person of the Year.
Right.
And by one way or the other, I mean whether people think of you
Yes.
positive. But I do think a lot of people probably assume we only want saints or something like that, but not newsmakers who are
Right.
Catholic. So
Right.
I'll give you guys a hint. I'm not saying whether this person won or not, but whenever someone says Catholic Person of the Year, you can never go wrong. You're going to be in the top 3 with Father Mike Schmitz.
There you
Everybody
go.
loves
There
Father
you
Mike
go.
Schmitz. I don't know why. Why do they love him so much? Because he's a good and faithful priest teaching the scriptures.
Yeah, young
what's
and
so great
handsome.
about that? Oh yeah, he's also young and handsome. Right. I was young once.
And
Yeah, but I'm just saying it did happen. All right, so I want to tell you about the Synod on Synodality. The Synod on Synodality.
rolls right off the tongue.
The meeting on meetings. The conference on conferences. We asked people, did you participate? And I think the worldwide participation is somewhere around 1 or 2% of Catholics, which is not a disaster. I mean, sometimes 1 or 2% response on a thing, you could kind of like dismiss that as a disaster, but it's also not an overwhelming. I'm so glad to get to participate. It's kind of an in the middle thing, but.
Is that Catholic adults, like eligible Catholic adults, or
Yeah.
all Catholics?
Oh, no, I don't know about that. I don't actually know. I just know that the number I've heard is somewhere worldwide. And in some countries higher, like 5 or 6%. In some countries lower. But all I've heard is that general number, somewhere between 1 and 2% of Catholics. And I don't know how many Catholics there are. There are like 1.25 billion of us or something. So,
Yeah, if
let me
we're
just
all
do the math on
Catholics,
that.
that's
1%, that's like, I'm not good with numbers, but that's more than 1,000 people, right?
Ask Google.
1%. That's a lot of people. All right, so, but what do you think the percentage was on? All we asked him, yes or no. Did you participate on our Radio Club members and Society 315 members? What do you think their percentage was? Any thoughts?
less than 1%.
7%.
Well, you gave them a full 7%. I was shocked at the number. It was almost 20%.
Oh my goodness!
Participated in the Synod on Synodality. Yeah, we
Did-
didn't ask
did
them
you?
to. We're on the air right now. Why are you asking? I participated prayerfully. Okay.
That's a wonderful response.
20% of our radio club participated in.
Well,
this thing?
Radio Club and Society 315 members, we polled them both. So that's several thousand. I don't know how many thousand, maybe 10, maybe 15, but 1,000 people. And 20% said of the respondents. But now I'm just realizing something, though. The respondents are by nature people who respond to things. so
a self-selecting group.
It's kind
that's
of
called
a self-selecting group. Yeah. Of the people that we got to respond to us, 20% said they responded to Pope Francis. So I don't know if that actually means anything now. I've just devalued that statistic.
Yes, you have.
So I don't know. I wish the Pope well on this, but I don't think that it will do what he wants it to do. And I've said that before. And I don't think this is a criticism. I wish him well because I do think it is very hard with 1 billion something Catholics and 6,000 ordinary bishops and thousands more auxiliaries and other kinds of bishops to consult with the church. It's really hard to do, to consult with the church. And we do have a New Testament example of consulting with the church, at least consulting with the leaders of the church, the elders and the apostles and all that. That's how we listen for what the Holy Spirit is moving, how the Holy Spirit is moving. How do you do that? I still don't think anyone has solved that. I don't think Pope John Paul II solved that problem. I don't think Pope Benedict did. I mean, Pope John Paul solved it by writing an enormous number of letters to us. Yeah. And I guess we were allowed to write back if we wanted. But I don't know. What do you all think? There is some negativity around the synod and synodality.
Well, my wife went to it.
She did?
Yeah. She participated actually at the parish where Todd goes. So, I would characterize that parish as a very faithful Orthodox parish. And she said that most of the people there seemed to be of that stripe, but she had mixed reactions about what she figured would be the efficacy of it.
Yeah.
Someone scribbling notes the whole time, and a group of 8 people, and you pass a crucifix around, and you can only talk if you're holding the crucifix, and it sounded a little not something that I probably would have gotten anything out of, but she at the time she thought it was worthwhile. Looking back, we talked about it last night. She said, I don't have a whole lot of hope about anything that was said, like reaching the upper levels of the hierarchy.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I actually wish I had participated because I got some stuff that I want to say. Like I want to say dioceses are too big. Could we make them smaller, please? I just want to say that everywhere I go as a Catholic. These are too big. I'm not mad at the bishops for having big dioceses. I just don't want them to have big dioceses. I don't know what
I'm kind of quadruply cynical about.
Quadruply?
Yeah.
I'm going to start my notes right now. Okay. You can hold the crucifix and
see if I can remember all 4 points. Well, as to holding the crucifix, I've worked for 2 dioceses, and I know that in chancery culture for many, not all, or at least at the time that I was working at these dioceses, there's a love of process and over results. And this, what you described, Tim, of holding the crucifix and and I suppose you need to have order somehow. So I repent of my own cynicism, even as it escapes my lips. But I do know that love of process, which manifests itself in any kind of institution, whether it's a PTA or a parish council or the Boy Scouts. So, but I'm not sanguine about the efficacy of such things.
Yeah, okay.
I'm when it comes to self-selection, I'm cynical about the kind of responses we're going to get, and in fact, some of this is borne out already by some of the results we're seeing. That the people who will go to these things to an inordinate degree are those who believe that we should have kind of democratization in the church when it comes to faith and morals, not just in decision making and kind of steering the path along the margins, which might be right, but those who believe that yes, you ought to hear what I have to say and listen to me and change church teaching because of it.
Right.
Those will be inordinately, I think, the ones who go to these things, and that's going to skew the kind of results. And so you see some of the stuff that leaks out, or has been leaking out from the results of these gatherings. People saying that they want to see changes in all of the controversial teachings, all the hard teachings, mostly sexual ones.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
So we're already seeing some advance notice of that.
Yeah.
And that bears out, I think, my second reason for cynicism there. And then a third one, because I've forgotten the fourth. I should have made notes to myself on my phone. But is what to what extent are there preordained results that that our leaders, that our church leaders, our clerical leaders want to get out of this, and having this grassroots exercise is kind of a formality. I don't know. I think in some of their minds probably it is. I don't know that it's the dominant mentality there, but yeah. So that's my third reason for cynicism.
Yeah,
I have lots of reasons for cynicism about lots of different things. So ask me anytime.
Okay, so I'll be like, Todd, how many reasons for cynicism do you have about? I'm not just name something.
Reason the first.
Well, I don't know if my reason for a bit of cynicism matches with any of those three. I feel like it matches with one of them, but I want to see what you think. One of the problems with Catholicism is professional Catholics. And all of this is going to be filtered through professional Catholics. Do you understand what I'm saying?
You mean parish and diocesan apparatchiks?
The people we used to be working for the diocese.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Or working at the parish level. That are they capable of hearing that criticism that you in many ways are one of the problems, not as individuals, but as a collective, as the way we bureaucratize the church, all of that. So I feel like that matches with one of yours about process. Sure. But that music means we got to take a break. We will take a break, and we'll do all kinds of results from our survey, end of year survey, and we'll ask Tim and Todd what they think right after this on Catholic Answers Live.
You're listening to Catholic Answers Live.
The recent decision by the U.S. Supreme Court to overturn Roe v. Wade was a monumental victory for the pro-life movement. But the fight is far from over. With our new booklet, Why We're Pro-Life, we have produced the perfect tool to prepare you to have peaceful and convincing conversations to shed light on the truth about human life from conception to natural death. Catholic Answers is printing millions of copies of this booklet, and we plan simply to give them away. You can help us in two ways. First, by generously supporting this project. 25 cents prints one book. $2,500 prints 10,000, and so on. Second, by helping us distribute the booklet through your parish, your school, or the pro-life ministry you work with. Catholic Answers is going to blanket the country with why we're pro-life, but only if you step up and help us. Thank you so much. For more information, visit whyweareprolife.com.
Have you enrolled in the Catholic Answers School of Apologetics? Let me ask you a more important question. Do you believe as a Catholic that you have an obligation to share the Catholic faith? In fact, the Church has answered this question, and the answer is that all confirmed Catholics are obliged to share the faith. It's actually in canon law. Catholic Answers is here to help you fulfill that obligation. Our School of Apologetics courses will equip you to help all the people you come in contact with understand what the Church teaches and why. A great place to start is with all the Catholics in your life. Learn the art of apologetics from the best of the best and start sharing the gospel today. Visit schoolofapologetics.com. That's schoolofapologetics.com.
Miss a show? Make sure to catch up by downloading the podcast, available online at Catholic.com.
This is Dr. David Anders. Are your friends or family discouraging you from becoming Catholic?
We can help on Call to Communion tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Now, back to Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. I'm Cy Kellett, your host. Merry Christmas. We are in the 5th day of Christmas today. There are 12 days of Christmas, and when you get to Epiphany, January 6th, you're out of the 12 days of Christmas. That's the 5th is the last day of Christmas, the Feast of the Epiphany, or sometimes the Feast of the Wise Men, or there's different names for it.
Toyotathon goes all the way through January 31st, though, just so we're clear about our calendars.
Well, if Toyotathon is going, we should still be celebrating the birth of Christ. I mean, if you're, put these on the scales. Well, there are many people who will celebrate or will say, actually, it's the Christmas season, even though the current calendar doesn't say it, all the way up to Candlemas, which is the 2nd of February. Yeah. So that's even longer than Toyotathon.
As it should be.
Are you in the market for a car? Is that why you know it? I felt I could just get my finances in order by the 30th of January. Are you looking for a car?
I'm not.
Okay.
No, I'm good. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive then that you were are aware of how long Toyotathon goes.
Keep track of these things. It's a hobby.
Let's start this segment with, we ask people about trends. We ask them what's a Catholic trend that gives them concern, what's a Catholic trend that gives them hope. And there's not really, this is such an open-ended question that it's kind of hard to say, this was the big winner. There's not really something like that. But I wonder what you think. Do you want to start with your Catholic trends, or you want to hear some of the ones before you give us your Catholic negative trend of the year? We'll start with the negative. We'll end with the positive on all of these that come in pairs like that. You guys are in control of the show now. You want me to go say some of these and you can comment on them?
I like the negative stuff too. Always the fast before the feast. My negative was the increasing compartmentalization among Catholics.
Oh, yes.
And I don't know how much of that is skewed by the fact that I'm in media, and we pay close attention to social media. We pay close attention to blogs and internet chatter and that sort of thing. But it seems more and more and more that even Catholics that we would put in the general bucket of Orthodox faithful Catholics are getting more and more and more tribal and insensitive and disrespectful of those who should be their allies in the general Orthodox Catholic bucket.
What a great one! That is
it's a horrible thing, but
but that you put your finger on something, and I like that you use the word compartmentalization, because that's really what it is. We're sticking ourselves in a silo, sort of, and we don't like the people in all those other ones.
And we're very reactionary about. Maybe that's not quite the right word, but we're reactive in the disdain or any judgment that we make, positive or negative, when confronted by those of even a slightly different tribe.
I know. What's it called? The narcissism of small differences or something? Have you ever heard that?
Oh,
phrase?
I have heard that. That's a great expression.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm going to speak up a little bit for Catholic Answers, because we get this, you guys are cowards, you won't say what Michael Voris says or something like that. And I don't have any problem with Michael Voris saying whatever he says. He's done, I mean, some of the things he has done are quite brave. Fine, but that's not what we do, and there's actually a reason why we don't do that. I don't like you. I'm not your enemy because I don't do what Michael Voris does. Like, why are you? But we get a lot of that. I don't know. Do you get it in your departments? We get that.
Oh, sure. The publishing, general publishing email box that you find on Catholic.com, all of that stuff funnels to me. And we get, so maybe this is where some of my
maybe you should
basis for
give
this
that
comment
to somebody else for a year.
Yeah, well, we have to share the load. But to be sure, and there's a biblical model for this, right? I mean, the hand is not the eye, is not the foot, is not the spleen or whatever else.
Yeah.
So we all have our mission, and we all build up the body in a particular way, and too often we hear, "You're not the eye, you need to be the eye." Why are you not the eye?
Right.
Yeah.
Because Michael Voris is the eye.
For example.
I'm the, I don't know what.
He's the hair.
I don't want to say, hey, there you go. He is. But, I mean, I don't like, what is it? I always get this wrong. Sean Winters or Sean Michael Winters?
Sean Michael Winters.
Sean Michael Winters. Like, on the other side, people will be like, well, why aren't you brave? Like, again, he does fine work. If I'm in Mass with him, I look forward to this is how Vatican II I am, Todd. I look forward to giving him the handshake of peace. Why do we have to curse one another? Why can't we just bless one another and say, that's not what I do, but,
since you set me off for a second, in my parish, we stopped doing the handshake of peace because of COVID.
Oh, you moved back to the kiss of peace?
Because of COVID.
Oh, no, okay. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, now because of COVID, we stopped doing it. And now the priest extends peace to the people, and we say, and with your spirit, and then there's this pause, and everyone starts hugging and kissing and shaking hands. It's like they're addicted to this tradition of the past that they can't give up. Oh. Even though the church is telling them now we're going in a new direction, and yet they cling, as it were, bitterly.
They're traditionalists
to this tradition, and they really need to be accompanied and brought.
We should come up with a name for people like that. Because if you label people, that really shows your love for them.
Helps with the compartmentalization. See, we come full circle now.
Tim, your trend.
Negative.
We're doing negative.
Yes.
Trends. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
I would have to say the increasing dissension, public dissension. It's been gathering steam for many years, but amongst the world's bishops. The bishops in Germany and the Danish bishops have just approved a blessing for same-sex marriages, and I mean they're in clear contradiction to the church teaching, and they're bishops and they're cardinals. It's like I love my new word is incoherence. Bishop Paprocki gave me that one, but it really does sponsor an incoherence for people that aren't tuned in enough or aren't strong enough in their faith. Like, well, what the heck does the Catholic Church believe? And I think that's a terrible trend.
Yeah, there's something about. I mean, that's everything you mentioned was European. So, do you think the trend is worldwide, or do you think Europe is just going through the final throes of its de-Christianization?
I think Europe may be more vocal there. I think there are a lot of silent dissenters. Not a lot. There are silent dissenters here in this country, I think.
And there's dissension among U.S. bishops too, certainly.
Yes, of course, right. And you see that as well. When Bishop Gomez issued that when Biden was elected, and very measured, we're looking forward to working with him. He's a good Catholic, but he's a promoter of abortion and everything. He raised a caution, and he just got excoriated for saying anything negative about Biden.
By his fellow bishops.
Yes, I think by at least
Wilton
one.
Gregory, at least some of them were critical of him.
And that's not even the one I was thinking of. So
well, then you have Cardinal Hollerich, who's the head of the European Bishops' Conference. I think he's done a lot of kind of testing of the electric fence with some of his rhetoric on moral issues in particular.
But it's sexual revolution stuff. It's all sexual stuff. None of them are going, we got to revisit this Arian thing because I think Arius might have been right. No, it's none of that. It's revisiting the sexual morality of the ancient world, basically. I mean, the sexual morality that was given to us by Jesus through the apostles. We just don't want that anymore.
Right.
And that's the key. If you just let us have this, that'll bring the world bring the church into the modern world or something. But it's a delusion. It's a delusion that if we just give in on, I don't know.
Not only a delusion, a slippery slope. Like if you give in on homosexuality, everything will be fine. Great. Oh, now it's transgenderism. If you give in on transgenderism, everything's going to be great. There's going to be a next.
And just bake the cake.
Next topic.
And just shut up and bake the cake. Like that's where you'll get eventually. Is you've completely marginalized what is the core position of the Catholic Church. And the core position of the Catholic Church on marriage is demonized. I mean, people openly mock that as bigotry. They don't use the word Catholic when they do it. They just openly mock the position as bigotry everywhere now.
Well, it's funny you mentioned bake the cake. I wouldn't be surprised, and putting the best possible spin on it, if some of the rhetoric of our leaders on these questions is designed as a kind of calculated compromise to forestall further incursions into religious freedom. It's a kind of Munich agreement maybe on sexual morality. I think it's wrong-headed, but if that's their motive, it's at least laudable that they're thinking that far ahead.
Well, do you think that's what the Mormon Church is doing? I mean, you see a lot of these churches like the Salvation Army and the Mormons. They've abandoned us. They've said, just go along with this as law and don't try to defend marriage.
Yeah, this is in the news right now because of the Respect for Marriage Act, which is just such a wonderful euphemism.
Oh, come on.
We had the Inflation Reduction Act. I was joking with someone that when Catholics are eventually rounded up and put into camps, they're going to call it the Religious Freedom Restoration Act 2 or something like that.
I saw you said that. Yeah, I saw that comment.
Satan right, because Satan's detail-oriented. He loves, spouting lies right up to the level of the name of the thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think your response to my comment about religious freedom was.
That the Mormons and the
the Mormons are in the news now because they completely capitulated on this law that was just signed.
Well, they tried to find this weird middle ground of we still believe that marriage is this, but we think the law should be this. Which on some things, fine. Like there's certain things where I still believe that the Eucharist is the body, blood, soul, and divinity of Jesus Christ. But I don't think that should be enshrined in law, that you have to believe that. But this is a different thing. This is not a religious or spiritual understanding. This is a basic human moral precept. But I interrupted you, Todd. I apologize.
Oh, no, not at all. I of course, turning it into a religious a religious dogma is part of the strategy of our opponents on these questions.
That's right. Right. Abortion is just religion. Marriage is just religion. All these. And none of you could say it's just religion. Well, religious freedom then means that shut up.
But it's funny though because it's also a strategy that our side uses, and with some reason, because we have religious freedom protections enshrined in our laws. And so we say that we must not force that woman to bake the cake, not because there ought to be freedom of contract or freedom of artistic expression, but because she has this closely held religious belief that prevents us. So we kind of retreat to the ramparts of religion, but it may prove to be a losing strategy.
I think that you are right about that. I had not thought about that, but it strikes me that's probably right, because you can... The curtailing, if you just retreat to it, the only thing that we can defend is our religious freedom, and not that we have a right to be in the public sphere saying this is immoral, this is wrong, this is destructive. Then there will get to a time where they say, well, are you a church official? And if you're not, well, then you don't have a right to this view. Are you current?
It may play into their own arguments ultimately.
I want to share with some of what our listeners, the big trends among listeners, including the things that you mentioned, but also mentioned a lot of people see it as a negative trend that Catholics continue to vote pro-choice, and not just for pro-choice politicians. But vote for pro-choice stuff like Proposition 3 in Michigan or Proposition 1 here, like just out and out. There's no subtlety about it. Just voting for stuff that kills babies directly. Others, the lack of belief in the Eucharist. That's a trend that many people are concerned about. And then liturgical divisions. I'll get your comments on those when we come back, because I realize I'm at the break now. We'll take a quick break. We're talking about our survey results. We surveyed our radio club and our Society 315 donors, and this is what they said were the big stories, positive and negative, of the year. We'll get back we'll have more responses from Tim Ryland and Todd Aguilar right after this on Catholic Answers Live.
Hang on, we'll be right back with more Catholic Answers Live.
Underwriting for Catholic Answers Live is provided by Real Estate for Life. Real Estate for Life connects homebuyers and sellers to real estate agents while supporting pro-life organizations. On the web at realestateforlife.org.
Do you love sharing the gospel and want to learn to be more effective? Join the St. Paul Street Evangelization online School of Evangelization. You will learn to build bridges of trust and make disciples by befriending strangers, proclaiming the gospel, inviting people to the church, and praying with others. We'll ask for a pledge of financial support, but if you are unable to give, we'll give you a membership at no cost. Find out more and get involved today at streetevangelization.com. That's streetevangelization.com.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
Hosting Women Made New has helped me deepen my own faith, and I look forward to every weekend having those in-depth discussions with my guests. It's been such a blessing being a part of the EWTN family and carry on the mission that Mother Angelica started.
Women Made New, Saturday noon Eastern on EWTN Radio.
All right, so we're just wrapping up one of the categories of our big end-of-year survey that we do each year here at Catholic Answers, and this was what trends among Catholics give you concern. We've gone through some of them, but Catholic support for pro-abortion politics, both politicians and ballot measures, loss of belief in the Eucharist. Did I mention another one? And just a general lack of faith also bothered people. It's just a sense that people are losing the faith.
Nuns.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I think you mentioned liturgy too.
Liturgy. That was the other one. Any thoughts on any of that? I mean, it all fits with what you were saying before.
Well, it's part of the long defeat. I don't know, except for the liturgy part, which seemed to be a little higher profile. Those are trends that predate 2022 certainly.
Yeah, that's right. And I may have exaggerated the liturgy one because like I'm the filter, so that's interesting. But it certainly was on the list several times. But and as I said, it's hard to collating these is hard because people will say sometimes the same thought in very different ways, and you're like, are those two under the same category? So it's a lot of judgment call on this, but I think generally I've given a fair impression of what people had to say. I'm trying to see if there's like for someone, lack of faith is one person, and then someone else writes too many empty pews. Well, is that the same point? I think it's the same point, but
yeah, I would think so too.
Yes, I mean, not to you could make a pedantic distinction there, but hardly worth the trouble.
All right, you want to do some positive trends?
Yes,
let's. We're moving to. Oh, look at that, Todd! Enthusiastic
I'm
to go
ready
to the
for
positive.
positivity. It's almost the new year.
Never mind. I'm going to move on. Okay, so positive trends. What did you? We'll start with you. Did you have a positive trend in the Catholic?
I think the positive trend is the dissension between bishops in the world.
That's so interesting.
And let me tell you why.
That's a very interesting take. Go ahead. Why?
Because we have the Corleones and the Paprockies of the world speaking out, finally, and calling what my dad used to say, calling a spade a dirty old shovel, and calling names. In Bishop Paprocki's article that's coming out, he tells the story. He tells the story of how the incoherence came into the USCCB statement because, and he says it. He says McCarrick withheld information from Pope John Paul II until this thing had been written by the
I
American
gotta say
bishops.
this. I love this about Paprocki.
I do too.
But he doesn't say general things like, "Well, we lost our way." He just names the names of the people who did it.
And I think that's a fairly new thing.
Yeah.
And I do think that Archbishop Corleone coming out and being so brave regarding Pelosi has energized the bishops certainly, and the people in the pews that are longing for coherence in their faith. So it's odd, but I think
it's a negative in the sense that we have this dissension because there's all this, what should we call it, innovation, entrepreneurialism in Catholic morality.
Right.
But we also have the dissension because there are bishops who have the guts to stand up and do what's right.
Yes. So I
you buy that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. All right. So did you have a positive trend you want to share with us from the year?
Yeah, I thought about this. I mentioned that I'm the bay into which all the tributaries of our website email contacts often flow. And so I get not only the complaint department stuff, but also really inspiring accounts of people coming back to the faith or people coming back to God. And despite all the cynicism, despite all the distractions that the world places in front of us, despite all the worries of our times, people still find the grace of conversion operating in their lives and respond
Praise
to
God.
it.
Right.
And they are being enlightened to the fullness of Christian truth. They are coming out of sin and darkness in their lives and reforming them and seeking out the sacramental grace to do better. And they're being very serious and intentional about it. And each one of those not only gives us hope for the mission of Catholic Answers and the work that we do, in as much as we're God's instrument in bringing that about, but also for the Church and the world in general.
Well said. Beautifully said. One of the things that people worried about was the loss of faith in the Eucharist. That was on our negatives. And one of the things that people think is positive is the Eucharistic revival. And I agree. I think the Eucharistic revival is good, and it's going well, and it will bear fruit. I do think it'll bear fruit.
Can I push back on that for a second?
No. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
What are you seeing that so one of my negative comments that I had stored up for later was bore a little bit on the Eucharistic revival. But what are you seeing concretely that makes you think it's bearing fruit?
I'm seeing people doing making media efforts with books and video and all that to do it, and some of them are really good, quite good, and I think they will affect people. Like these two the women Catholic radio hosts in Iowa, where I just visited at Iowa Catholic Radio, made an absolutely beautiful 5, maybe 6 minute documentary on what actually happens at the Mass that will just blow your mind. It's so good, and I think it'll reach young people. I think they'll see it and get it. I think it's being made in forms that are accessible to people. It's not just bishops, writing a letter, which is fine and everything, but that should be the beginning point for the church, where we go, okay, we got the marching orders, let's go do something. But I think people are doing great stuff like that. And the other thing is, from what I'm hearing, more and more people are taking up Eucharistic adoration. And I think that's that saves souls, Eucharistic adoration. But go ahead, push back on my beautiful.
No, but that was my pushback. So yes, I think maybe in some places it is limited to, well, the bishop wrote this letter, we're going to read it at Sunday Mass. Here you go, we read it.
Yeah.
Continue.
Okay,
carry
that's
on.
what we were doing.
And I guess a general lack of trust again in process. We here we're going to spend a lot of money. We're going to create a program. We're going to make everyone in the parish do it, or everyone in the diocese do it. Okay, we did the program.
Yeah. What's the next program?
Yeah, and I'm much more of a believer in kind of an organic way of spreading and deepening the faith through families, through example, rather than through. I'm in the job of publishing Catholic books, and I certainly don't doubt their efficacy, but I think that they're second to the more principal ways that we spread and deepen the faith. So the jury's out in my mind. I do hope, and of course I laud the bishops for intentionally doing something.
Yeah.
But I think the jury's out on what the long-term effect of that will be.
All right, fair enough. Only one person mentioned this as a trend, but I was so taken with this response that I wanted to share it with you and get your response. This person chose for the most positive Catholic trend of 2022, Mary tattoos. I just wondered what you thought about that.
Didn't Father Mike Schmitz get one?
Did Father Mike Schmitz? Does anybody know? Did he get a Mary tattoo? Edgar says, yeah. He thinks that happened.
All right. That's why.
Mary tattoo. I honestly didn't even know that was a trend.
All right.
Because I don't look at people's tattoos. I feel like somehow I'm being intrusive. Isn't that weird? Like they're putting on their body so you can see it, but I feel like I know that you got them, but I'm not. I just can't. It's a weird squeamishness about tattoos.
One of the soccer players for the Netherlands team in the World Cup had one on his upper arm, and I thought, all right, he's on TV in front of 1 billion people.
Right.
That's a kind of witness, I guess. Yeah.
I think it is. Yeah. But then, like sometimes it'll be somebody who's got like it's sort of a satanic Mary, like they do like some weird kind of, I don't know, like from some cult, like. Oh, look at that. He just sent me a picture of, he got, Father Mike got this tattoo.
Oh, so he's got the Jerusalem cross and the
IHS. Yeah. He got the cross a few years ago.
Yeah. Why do you send us a picture of Father Mike's face with it? Like, you're like, look how pretty this man is, and he got this on his arm. Why we don't need the face picture.
At least he didn't show you his
look at him.
guns.
I mean, that's a good... I know. And here's Father Mike at the beach. And here's Father Mike on the trapeze. All right. I just thought Mary tattoos was one that you all might like. Also, there was one that was, in addition to Eucharistic adoration, several people mentioned an increase in the number of people praying the Rosary. I think that's probably true, but I don't. That'd be anecdotal. Do you think? I mean, if it's happening, it's a good one. This person wrote, seems like there are fewer James Martin tweets. That's a positive trend. Who wrote that? I got to find out.
Someone's tracking that someplace. I want objectivity on this question.
I know. I'm going to go with Mary tattoos. It's even better than that. But that's the
just count your blessings wherever you find them, I guess.
One of the nice things about the survey is every now and then you do see a really funny response. Like people will, and I don't want to encourage people to not take it seriously, but every now and then you do. And also I should mention this. I don't know why I went but several people also mentioned Catholic media as a positive trend. One person, I assume this was a Catholic media response, just wrote Barron, Schmitz, etc. I think
I like that. There's a certain success.
Kellett wasn't in there. Barron Schmitz.
No, but I feel like Catholic answers must be in the etc. part.
Yeah,
like we're part of the
we'll
etc.
Take it.
Right? Barron, Schmitz, etc. Yeah, so we got another hour with you guys. Will you do another hour with us? And it'll include revealing who the Catholic Person of the Year is.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's coming up on Catholic Answers Live.
That's exciting.
Each year in December, we send out a survey to the Catholic Answers Radio Club members. You can join by sending an email to radio@catholic.com. We also send it to members of the Society 315. You can join that. Just put in your Google machine Society 315 and go there and give $10 a month, and then you're part of the Society 315. And you get all sorts of free stuff when you join those things. A lot of it's really good stuff. And then you get to be part of the annual end-of-year survey that we do. And then we spend lots of fun hours talking with really smart people like our guests today, Tim Ryland and Todd Agliolaro, talking about the survey results and getting all kinds of cool answers like Barron, Schmitz, etc. It's like Tinkers to Evers to Chance. Nice. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more Catholic Answers Live. Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. Merry Christmas on this 5th day of the Christmas season. We're so happy you're here with us. We love that opportunity, and we're grateful that you listen. Thanks for giving us that opportunity, and hope you're getting ready for a big New Year's Eve celebration. My wife and I, we're doing the usual New Year's Eve celebration. We'll find out how everything went next morning. see how all the celebrations went around the world. That's our big New Year's Eve celebration. But we're happy you're here. We're doing the end of year survey where we ask our listeners in various ways what the big stories are, who the important movers and shakers were, and even we asked this year what the best TV and shows and movies were for the year. And it's so exciting. The world waits for this, for the response, to hear what the Catholic Answers survey has said. We've already done positive and negative trends. We've talked about the synod on synodality and what people had to say about that and whether they're participating. And more fun this hour, including the revelation of the Catholic Person of the Year. We will be revealing the Catholic Person of the Year. And for at least for this year, it's not the guy who threw the Pachamama in the river. I won't give out the phone number, of course, because we're not taking calls today. We've got two wonderful guests in here to talk about these things with us. Todd Agliolaro, Director of Publishing here at Catholic Answers. Thanks for coming back for another hour, Todd.
My pleasure, Si.
How did you feel about the first hour? I want a quick review. You feel
it
okay?
always goes so fast.
It does, doesn't it?
And I'm always in awe of your talents. I say this every time,
this I like.
just to ensure that I get invited back next year.
I really appreciate that comment and the insincerity of it, both of them. And Tim Ryland, who is the editor of the magazine here, Catholic Answers Magazine, which you can get by being a supporter of Catholic Answers. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Si.
Thanks for coming back.
I appreciate you being invited back.
No,
didn't get kicked out after the first hour.
No, that has actually never happened.
Wow.
Although I hadn't thought that I had the authority to do that, because there's probably times when Chris Check would not have made it through the second hour if I had remembered that I have the authority to do that. We got a lot of good stuff, but you know what I did? I got myself in trouble the first hour because the last thing Kerry said when he left this, read that ad.
We heard it.
And I went through the whole, you heard Kerry say that to me.
I did.
And I went through the whole first hour and I didn't read the ad.
And I kept wondering when you were going to read it.
And you're going to enjoy it because it's literary. It has literary features, this ad. So
let's hear it.
Yeah. All right. I got to read it word for word too. It's not one I can improvise because there's magic words in it. Each day of Christmas, we'll be reading a clue leading you to a book title at shop.catholic.com. If you're one of the first 5 to locate the product and use the attached promo code, you will get it for free. Today is the 5th day of Christmas, day 5, 5 golden rings. Merry mirth, praising sings. Lo, behold, the 5 gold rings. And then it says read the clue twice, but I don't think I'm supposed to read that part. But you use that clue at shop.catholic.com to find one of the 5 free books. So I will read the clue again because it says read the clue twice. Merry mirth, praising sings. Lo, behold, the 5 gold rings. Happy hunting at shop.catholic.com.
Wow. Just wow.
I know. Isn't that
I'm going to be on the website
free
for
books.
the rest of the day.
Free books. Best kind of books.
You got to go now because people are going, if you're not on now, you're not getting one because people are using that.
That's awesome.
Do you know something? My brother used to write ad copy for the Mattel Corporation. And this is where I learned that there's a difference legally between gold and golden. Did you know that? Like you can't say Barbie is wearing a gold dress. You have to say golden because if you say gold, you're lying. and you're legally liable
because it's not made of gold.
Because it's not made of gold. It's golden. So
I love that stuff. I love those kinds of distinctions.
Yeah.
Chew on that kind of thing forever.
I mean, like if someone like is playing, I don't know, a golden harp, it's made out of gold though, right? Like,
just plate, I think. It's just plate.
Oh, it's gold plated. Oh, I see. All right.
Didn't mean to burst your bubble there.
That's all right.
I'm going to go home and pat my gold retriever.
It's not gold. That's the point.
Dang it.
Catholic word or phrase of the year. We can do. I'm going to give you guys the choice of where you want to start. Catholic word or phrase of the year, or what change would you like to see in the church this year? Where would you like to start? Catholic word or phrase can be positive or negative.
I didn't have a word.
You didn't really?
No, I was just reading about how the 2 words in the secular world, based on Google searches and other things, were woman and Wordle. were the 2 words of 2022.
Wordle is sort of self-referential.
Wordle was the #1 Googled word of 2022.
That's weird. That's a game people play on the New York Times.
It is. It's
right?
a game people play. Yeah.
Is that where you play it, or do you play it somewhere
You
else?
have to play it at the Times now. They bought out the small game inventor who made it.
Well, I will not read
Yes.
it then. I will not play it in my protest against...
And then woman, as in what is I guess, was the...
Matt Walsh's
or
seminal
just
question.
in fact, our own Carlo Broussard has written a wonderful book called The New Relativism that will be out in the spring, unmasking the philosophy of the new woke moralists.
Oh.
And he addresses the whole what is a woman controversy as it pertains to what seems to be the absolutism of the modern moral liberals, when in fact it's just the old relativism kind of repackaged.
There it
So
is again.
look for that.
All right,
Yeah.
good. Carlo's good on that
He
stuff.
is.
So I'm looking forward to that. So you didn't have your own. You didn't have a Catholic word.
I tried, Si.
No?
I'm sorry I failed you.
Did you have one?
I did, but I've already spilled it out of the bag several times. Coherence.
Oh.
And incoherence.
All right, let me see how often that appears.
It really gets to the heart, I think, of the confusion that's been in the church for many decades now. It's the incoherence that dissent sponsors or causes in the minds of the faithful who aren't, very well formed in the church.
Right.
And the non-Catholics certainly as well. Maybe even more so. Like, what does the church teach on that? Well, the bishop says this, and this bishop says this, and
Yeah, right.
doesn't do any good for the Catholic faith.
I don't see coherence on the list. I'm just scrolling through, and it's not there. You should get some kind of prize.
No, Bishop Paprocki's
Can we give him a
the
Catholic
one.
Answers mug? Can we give Tim a Catholic Answers mug?
Why, Si, I thought you'd never ask me. I
Oh.
appreciate that.
I was going to give you one out of the dirty mug pile because that's just one less that I have to clean. But okay, you can have that one.
What's in this?
There was actually an overwhelming winner in this category, which I'm surprised you all
Really?
didn't. And it came in 3 versions, all of which I
Is it
counted.
Eucharist?
No. Synodal, and synodality.
Really?
Those were, and again, this
Okay.
is we didn't ask people their feelings on
Yeah.
this word. Just tell us the Catholic word or phrase. And I'm surprised neither of you saw that.
That was too obvious.
Coming. Maybe we could get other guests for the second half of this show because they didn't even see that coming. Like they.
Edgar, get in here. We'll trade places.
Eucharist, Eucharistic revival, Eucharistic, that would be second. But synod, synodality, synodal, those were all first.
It's just so disheartening the way those words are crammed together, and it's become such a butt of jokes. That the worldwide meeting on having worldwide meetings. It's just it's so almost a parody of itself, and it's making fun of bureaucracy. That I'm not surprised now that I think about it that it would be mentioned so often.
Yeah. Some people went a little more pious on it. Like one person said, Lord, I am not worthy that you should enter under my roof, but only say the word and I shall be healed. I do not know if that person was just having a moment and that or
I shall be healed.
But there was that one. There were several who had not a lot, not loads of them. But what was the other one? I've lost it. Oh, progressives or progressivism. I was surprised at how many people thought that was a Catholic word or phrase of the year. And then a lot of people just use this as an opportunity to say how they feel about stuff.
Those are the people that are usually emailing Todd.
I have come not to bring peace but a sword.
Wow.
I
didn't know that Robert Spencer was
not peace but a sword. Yeah, I don't. I'm not sure. I mean,
you might want to
should I be
reshape that
scared
question. You might want to give some parameters for that question for 23. It's a little bit open ended.
Yeah, it is, but I mean, that we did get 2 clear winners, basically Synod and Eucharist, and I do think that the people basically got it right.
But I said Eucharist, so I get partial
did
credit.
you say?
Well, I guessed
sorry,
Eucharist, and you was like, no, not Eucharist. Yeah, that was the second clear winner. You're telling me now?
Yeah, it was number 2. I can't. I'm so sorry that
You just wanted to stomp on me so badly that you couldn't wait.
Well, but you're in a. I just don't know if you know this, but you're in a different Catholic silo than I am. It's like you're in a different compartment of the Catholic Church.
That makes sense now.
So
All right.
I really, I don't feel like the gospel applies to you.
No.
Like a good Catholic, I feel like the gospel only applies to the Catholics who agree with me 100%.
Yeah.
That's the new gospel of Catholic.
Things I learned on Twitter today.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. But I'm going to say it again just because Carrie's probably mad at me.
Don't read the part in parentheses.
Okay, I will not read that part. Merry mirth praising sings, lo behold, the 5 gold rings. Use that at shop.catholic.com and you might get yourself a free book.
Stay with us for more Catholic Answers Live.
Underwriting for Catholic Answers Live is provided by Magnificat. Published monthly, Magnificat features daily Mass, prayers, articles, and meditations in step with the liturgical rhythm of the Church. On the web at magnificat.com.
He was a doctor of the Church and one of the most famous saints of all time.
Matthew Bunson and the Doctors of the Church.
St. Augustine is honored for his immense contributions to theology, but he balanced his genius with humility. Once declared, it was pride that changed angels into devils. It is humility that makes men as angels. He died in 461.
For more about the Doctors of the Church, visit doctorsofthechurch.com.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live on this 5th day of Christmas. And we have 2 wonderful guests, Tim Ryland, the newly married Tim Ryland, looking just delighted with himself, just as pleased as the cat who caught the bird. He's showing the ring. He's holding the ring up. That's what that is. Did you get that on the camera, the ring? If not...
it's okay.
Is it made from a meteor or something?
What is that? Yeah.
It's titanium, and it's got black diamonds.
Yep.
Circling it.
Well, all right.
No, my wife's got good taste. She bought this.
How nice.
Yeah.
How nice. And did you buy her wedding ring, or did she buy both of them?
And it's a little bigger than this.
Oh, show off.
No. Keeping the wife happy.
Very good. That is the policy.
Yes, it is.
And so did I say the names of our guest, Tim Ryland? And then I started talking about his marriage. And then I didn't say Todd Aguilar, did I? Director of Publishing, Todd Aguilar.
Hello.
So, hello.
By the way, may I just very quickly say that, like most of the men here in the Catholic world, I married way, way above my pay grade. I married a doctor, Sharon Frank, who's now Sharon Ryland, but very, very grateful. And,
who we have known for years around here because she's a wonderful supporter of Catholic Answers.
I met her at a Catholic Answers get-together, so that brings it full circle, I guess.
Yeah, when people around here heard that the 2 of you were getting married, I thought the overwhelming response was, she did what?
Yeah.
She agreed to what?
I've heard that from everyone.
It was a sense of shock, I think, actually. I'm only kidding.
Well, what I say is she's the smartest woman I know, but she has a Tim-shaped blind spot. And that's served me well.
I don't think that's true at all.
I assume that
you for just what you
hypnotized her or something.
I hypnotized her.
She is a lovely person, and
thanks.
you are a lovely person, and everybody here is as happy as can be for the both of you.
Thank you.
All right, so now we're going to see what change. This is what we ask people. I'll give you the wording. What change in church life would you like to see in 2023? So you can approach this one of 2 ways. You can guess what you think the best answer was, or you could just say what I, Tim, or I, Todd, believe this should be the change. And I know mine is, I believe that everyone who works in Catholic publishing should be paid better in 2023. So I don't know how you 2 feel about that, but that's what I think.
I love you, Si.
Thank you, Todd. Do you want to guess, or do you want to give what you want?
I like to do both.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, so I think something like, well, no, I guess I don't have a guess.
Really?
I was going to say, well, but so something would just teach Catholicism better, or something like that. Something very broad. Teach more courageously. Teach Catholicism is my guess.
Okay.
Teach Catholicism.
Oh, that as the catch-all that would.
That
would be the winner.
The more and more of these we do, the more I'm trying to understand the trends and the way the answers come in.
All right. Well, what's your guess then? Since the 2 of you are guessing,
I'm not guessing.
Oh, you're not guessing?
No, I'm just saying what I think.
I think that Todd's probably right, because as I said, like you ask an open-ended question like this, and the answers are so varied, and some involve people who think in ways that you're like, that's a very interesting way of thinking, or at least they express themselves in interesting ways. But I would say that's probably like the big winners are the church should be more pro-life, the church should teach better, the church should be more respectful of liturgical tradition, or should have Latin Mass more, and then we should have more apps like Father Mike Schmitz.
Apps or abs?
No, apps. Okay. It's apps. Come on.
Sorry, we're kind of loving on Father Mike over here.
No, that only got one vote, but I thought it was good, so I threw it in there in the top ones. But those are basically it. I mean, like, I would include in yours, priests should preach better homilies. But I don't know. Is that right, or is that a liturgy? I don't know. It's hard to know. Is that?
Well, that actually dovetails with the answer that I was going to give. When you're ready to shift to that, it's not dissimilar, and maybe that's why my mind went there. But I thought of the word subsidiarity, and this was the answer that I mentioned in the first hour, that I was connecting with an earlier answer about programming in the church and this kind of top-down mentality, and I would like to see a return to a bottom-up mentality when it comes to preaching and to teaching and to decision making, and that goes right from the priest in your parish preaching catechetically in his homilies, taking responsibility for his job in his little spot to teach and form his people, rather than we're going to get our marching orders from Rome, and then they're going to filter down through the USCCB, and then they're going to create a task force, and then the task force is going to recommend creating subcommittees, and then the subcommittees are going to gather for 2 years, and they're going to produce a document, and then we're going to hand that document to every bishop, and the bishop's going to create a task force, and so on, and eventually it gets to the people in the pews. Right. I would like to see that whole top-down trend that manifests itself in many other ways as well, reversed, and let's see priests in their parishes and bishops in their dioceses taking the bull by the horns when it comes to teaching and sanctifying.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I see. Now that's the kind of thing that it's hard to categorize, but like with other responses that people gave. But it's a very thoughtful response. I guess I was thinking a little bit while you were talking that way it seems to me that's what Pope Francis is trying to do with the synod. But that's why I said I don't think that it will succeed in doing what he wants.
Perhaps that's the express intention, or that's the way some people are selling it. But it's actually an example in my mind of that top-down approach. And I've read commentators who say that in recent years, bishops more and more have become middle managers of the Roman Curia. And I think that's another expression of this wrong direction that the church has been going and needs to be reversed.
Okay, fair enough. How about you? Do you have a trend that you want to propose, Tim?
More frequent confessions.
Oh, that was on here. Actually, there were a few people who said that.
Yeah, I don't think an hour on Saturday afternoon is nearly
availability
enough.
Of confessions.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Make confessions more available, like every weekday.
Yeah.
After
or before Mass,
5 to 6 or something.
I mean,
yes, certainly, and some parishes do that, like St. Margaret's.
St. Margaret's used to have confession going on all during Mass.
Yes, I remember
until communion.
Looking up there and seeing the line,
and then the line would snake around the church.
Yeah.
Due to personal reasons, they can't do that any longer. It stopped with COVID, but it was a wonderful resource.
Yeah. I've been in that line a few times.
Mm-hmm. I have too.
Yeah. And you look around, you kind of go, I think I'm the worst person in this line. I think I'm the worst, because it's St. Margaret's.
That's pride,
No. Well, they just all seem so good there.
Well,
but yeah, okay.
What I'm doing
I like that, more availability of confession. I think that's good, because people will go if it's available, and then the priest will say, well, I have it in the bulletin, it's available by appointment.
Yeah, right.
Who's going to make an appointment, Father, to come in? I mean, somebody is, but there's not going to be very many people.
And I think it helps demystify the whole process. If it's available all the time, and it becomes such an integral part of the faith, of what's available to the faithful. I think you lose maybe some of your fear, like, oh, I'm only going once every 2 or 3 months or even a month. It's like, but if you're doing it constantly, it gets to be, oh my gosh, I can't wait to tell Father.
Yeah, right, because you feel, I don't know if feel is the right word, but you do become aware of the grace working.
You do.
And you don't always feel it, but you do sometimes go, I have the strength to overcome some things I didn't. I'm not saying those things that I used to say or reacting the way I reacted before. And you have a sense, however it gets to you, that there's real grace in this sacrament.
Yeah.
And anecdotally, there seems to be a market too, a felt need I'm sure you've all had this experience of getting to confession a few minutes after the nominal time starts, and you look at the line ahead of you.
I start counting.
And you start doing the math.
I do that every
and
time.
Then you're looking.
You do this too, and you're looking at the people going, okay, that's going to be a 20-minute
yes,
confession.
Of course.
That one looks like about a 5-minute confession.
Oh, gosh, I'm the worst. I'm the most judgmental person in the world when it comes to that.
And then you see some friends of yours, and you're like, I'm never going to get if they're in front of me, I'm never getting to confess. Yeah, you're right about that.
I went to a parish in Valley Center, just in northern San Diego County. Not my parish, but it's not far from my house. And they had adoration going on during confession, which I thought was great. And they're all kneeling and they're adoring, and I see a couple of people outside the confessional, and there's 50 people kneeling. And I get what I think is the 2 or 3 person confession line, and someone very, very nicely says, the line starts there. And the whole row of people snaking around all during the Blessed Sacrament, that was also the confession line.
Wow.
And there was no way I was getting
the way
it.
you deal with that, though, is you just say, I'll confess cutting when I get there. If I'm only 3 people back, I won't forget this one.
It's venial anyway at best.
Confess the bomb threat later.
I have to say, one time when I was working at a Catholic newspaper, went with a priest into youth detention here in San Diego, and he was going into youth detention to hear confessions by himself. And I think I was doing a story on just prison ministry or something, and went in, and that was the first time I had the sense of really what the priest crisis means, because this is young men, anywhere from 12 to 18 years old, lining up like they were getting Super Bowl tickets or something. They wanted to go to confession so bad. They were very serious. There was no goofing around in line, but I'm talking about like a line that just went all the way around the cell block. And this priest just sat down and started hearing confession. And there's no way in the amount of time that he had that he could have heard all those confessions. And I don't know what the rules are on that, but if you can do a general absolution, because they don't have the sacrament available until they can hear. I don't know what the rules were, and I don't remember how he handled it, but I know he didn't get to a 10th of those boys that wanted to confess. And that's when you realize what a gift a priest is. At a moment like that, you go, every priest is this precious, irreplaceable gift. The ministry of that priest, and if they would make themselves available to confession, I really do think there's lots of people who would come.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well done. I like that one. I'm starting to worry about time now, so I'm going to move on. Okay, so next one would be, what change would you like to see in yourself? Let me read the exact one.
More confession.
What change in your own faith life would you like to see in 2023? And we asked this one because we figured the first question is going to make people mad about what other people are doing, and so we wanted to follow it up with, yeah, but what could you be doing? So we asked that one, and almost all of them had to do with more prayer, more focus on Jesus, more Mass and confession. So it was all that. Kind of, nothing. I didn't see any surprise. Nobody said more Mary tattoos or anything like that. There were little ones like, I want to stop watching TV or going on the internet, and I sympathize with that person as well. But you guys have anything you want to do in the coming year?
Finally get that demon out of me. It's been a long time.
I'm glad you haven't given up hope. God bless you.
Meaning to make the appointment, but I just something always comes up.
Well, that's good. That's a noble goal. I'm personally hoping he's kidding.
My office is next to him.
And you don't think
he's not kidding?
No, yeah, you hear that demon sometimes? Okay, well, all right. We'll all pray for that Todd will finally get the demon out. That. Tim?
Well, this is fruits of my recent wedding, but I really am. We were looking forward to helping each other get to heaven, and that subsets obviously is praying more together.
Yeah.
And I'm lazy and I don't want to do it. She already has held me to it, and vice versa. And just the opportunity to look at marriage as a chance to help each other into heaven. It's a really staggering thing when you think about it.
Yeah. But a beautiful one.
It is.
I think mine's probably really pedestrian. I think I should go to confession more than I go to confession, and I would like to do it more in the coming year. It's hard for me though because I have a chaplain available 4 days a week here at I have 3 priests at my parish who will hear confession anytime. I have regular parish with probably 4 parishes within 5 miles of my house. So it's not easy for me.
Can I ask you a question, Si, about this? Now, do you go face-to-face or do you go behind a screen or a veil or something?
I mean, I do whatever is available, but if there's a choice, I don't go face-to-face.
So since you like to go anonymously like many people do, and myself included, does the fact that your voice is so recognizable, being a radio celebrity, does that ever? Do you ever?
Well, it's
disguise
also the
your voice when
content
you
of what
confess?
I confess. Like I'll be like, I didn't read the ad on Thursday. I went all Thursday, didn't read the ad, and they're like, I think I know who you are. But no, I don't. I just feel like I do a better job confessing when I'm behind the screen.
Yeah,
I don't know why that is, but I don't care if they recognize my voice. I actually have a lot of confidence in priests that.
There's a grace where they forget. My father was a priest. He forgets the confession once he's heard it.
Oh, they're not forgetting my confession, Tim. There is no way.
All right.
No, it's memorable. I'm just telling you.
Right against that.
Right back with more Catholic Answers Live. Our big survey coming up right after this.
Did you know you can access Catholic Answers Live right from your phone or other mobile device? Download the Catholic Answers Live app today. The Catholic Answers Live app, available now on iOS and Android.
Here's a question. Is it really possible to be friends with someone who died 2,000 years ago? Maybe the problem is that we've grown way too comfortable with the story of Jesus. Nice man, right? Taught us to love one another, said not to judge people. We celebrate his birthday every year. It's time to put away this small, safe version of Jesus, says Si Kellett. Nobody that bland could have transformed the world. In A Teacher of Strange Things, Si presents Jesus Christ undiluted by sentiment, with all his radical words and deeds uncensored. Do you know someone, your son or daughter perhaps, or maybe your mom or dad, who needs the friendship of Jesus Christ? Do you? Order your copy of A Teacher of Strange Things by visiting shop.catholic.com today or asking for it at a good Catholic bookstore near you. Have you enrolled in the Catholic Answers School of Apologetics? Let me ask you a more important question. Do you believe as a Catholic that you have an obligation to share the Catholic faith? In fact, the Church has answered this question, and the answer is that all confirmed Catholics are obliged to share the faith. It's actually in canon law. Catholic Answers is here to help you fulfill that obligation. Our School of Apologetics courses will equip you to help all the people you come in contact with understand what the Church teaches and why. A great place to start is with all the Catholics in your life. Learn the art of apologetics from the best of the best and start sharing the gospel today. Visit schoolofapologetics.com. That's schoolofapologetics.com.
This is Dr. David Anders. Are your friends or family discouraging you from becoming Catholic?
We can help on Call to Communion tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern.
Now, back to Catholic Answers Live.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live. Todd Aguilar just cracking us up at the break with I don't know. It's just silliness about editing.
Off-the-air humor.
About editing prose. And remember, I had forgotten that Microsoft had a little paperclip that would correct you, and that is funny to remember that. Did he have a name, that little paperclip guy? Do you guys remember if he had a little Clippy?
Even worse.
Clippy making.
They just went with the first one right out of the box when they had that meeting.
Like what should
Clippy, we are done.
Yeah, this meeting is over. Hit the slopes, everybody.
The problem is we're not editing pros. We're editing amateurs.
Nice.
Come on, man. You edit my writing.
Well, I'm talking
I can't believe that you said
in general.
Oh, man.
There are some pros around.
I'm a really, really, really good writer.
You are.
Really
and
good.
he gets paid to write, so he's therefore a pro.
Yeah, I'm just saying that because they have to edit out the word.
Writer
edit
of
out the word
strange
really
things.
from a strange writer of things.
Yeah,
that's what they call me. best TV show or movie of 2022. We asked our listeners. This is where, if you're just joining us, we're in the midst of our big end of year program where we survey listeners and they give us their responses to all kinds of big important questions. And we just added this one this year. We've never done it before. Thought we'd see how this goes. Best TV show or movie of 2022.
Or movie show.
Or best. Yes, right. Best TV or movie show of 2022. And I have to say, my favorite answers, and several people did this, and I feel like I'm going to hurt some people's feelings by saying this. But my favorite answers were the people who said, I don't watch TV. Because that's like taking a vegan out to dinner. When you ask someone the best movie or TV show, and they go, I don't eat wheat. Do they have anything with no wheat here? I don't eat dairy products. Okay, we get it. You don't watch TV. You're better than us, and you're probably gluten intolerant. Okay.
You're intolerant.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so mad at these people. I don't watch TV. I don't even own a TV. That's how. Okay, we get it.
Are there more than 3 channels?
St. Fred from Indiana. You don't own a TV. Am I being mean? Is this mean right now?
Yeah.
Is it coming across as mean?
I'm feeling personally hurt because it's not dissimilar to the answer that I was going to give. But it's not. It's not
sorry.
a moral thing. Look, I'm
so
a middle-aged man. I have a job and a family. I don't have time for any of that stuff.
Yeah. I see. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, maybe 5 minutes of a Star Trek rerun before I pass out at night, and that's most likely.
Which is probably why you have such wonderful kids. You know, because you're not like I don't know, lost in television. I just feel like if you ask people, like, what's your favorite meat? And they, I'm a vegan. Okay, we didn't need an answer from you.
Tofu.
Yeah, my favorite meat is Beyond Meat. I've moved beyond all of you.
Aren't we beyond meat now, gentlemen?
Yes, all right. So, all right, fair enough, Todd. You are better than
But
us.
I will guess that people said the Top Gun movie. What was that? Maverick?
Really?
Because I haven't seen it, but I want to.
I haven't seen it
everyone
either.
raves about it. Everybody just raves about it.
It's a great movie.
Oh,
Yeah,
you've seen it?
Yeah.
Did you see it in the theater?
I did.
Or
I
did you?
Yeah. Yeah,
and
just
it
a
was good.
rousing, nothing
Rousing good time,
objectionable, patriotic, gung-ho, testosterone, and there's a little estrogen there to keep people happy. But it's a really
the
it's a fun movie.
patriotism and it's not woke at all. I guess is what people are saying about it.
Yes, no, that was a very good one.
How do you get estrogen into a movie? I know what people mean when they say testosterone. They mean like things are blowing up. And
one of the pilots was a woman. One of these Top Gun pilots was a woman.
Okay. I guess that's how you get estrogen in a movie. Make a woman Top Gun pilot.
Yep.
Yeah. I just didn't. I mean, I don't know the hormonal descriptions. I'm not good at the hormonal descriptions. Yeah, Top Gun got a lot of votes.
Okay.
It was not number one. Tim, you want to make a guess?
Well, I would say maybe this is controversial. I would say Father Stu. I really enjoyed that movie, and I thought the rough language was perfectly appropriate. No, don't take your kids to see it. But if you want a real world story about a real world conversion from a rough and tumble.
Oh, there's a PG-13 version.
They're just coming out with a PG-13 version. now.
Is that why you? I wasn't sure why you were saying it was controversial because there's all that rough language.
Because so many Catholics were so concerned about the language, and said, "Can't you make this movie without all the F words?" And
But the answer is no. I'm sorry, but the answer is no.
Well, they've done it.
They literally just did it.
They've done it. They've expurgated.
Yeah, but it's not the same movie. I mean, it's a different movie.
I'm with you on that
I
side.
don't know. Why do we like? It's like, Michelangelo, could you carve David, but without the,
I don't know, guys.
Can we not put that in there?
I haven't seen it, but the bad language is it's like getting punched in your conscience. I don't know. I can deal with that.
I have a hardened conscience then because I didn't even take the beginning of an offense at that. I thought they were given a reasonable depiction of what the man went through, and you want to know where he was and where he went.
Right.
And I didn't think that was.
Well, it has been controversial, so I hate to tell you that, but amongst a certain stripe of Catholic, there's been a lot of pushback. So they've redone it. They've recut the movie.
Yeah, it's called Father Stu Reborn.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Father Stu. It's not called Father Stu. It's called Father Stu Reborn. I don't know. Darren, give me a facial expression. Should I stop talking now? Because I'm not at all offended by the language. Should I just not admit that on the air? No, Darren's okay with me not being offended.
All right. Well, Todd is, so we should.
I can be offended for the three of us.
I feel very proud of Mark Wahlberg for making this. I think it's a great thing that he did. I thought the director did a great job, and now I'm forgetting her name. I apologize.
Oh, you mean Mel Gibson's girlfriend?
And Mel Gibson was fantastic.
Oh,
and
he was so good.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
I think I'm a bad person now. I don't. It came in number 2. Father Stu was number 2.
Okay.
So
we nailed it.
Yeah. Number 1 was The Chosen.
Yes, of course.
So even people who are that don't eat gluten and are completely vegan watch The Chosen.
And that's considered a TV show.
And that's controversial because it's kind of a little bit of a Protestant Jesus.
It's an
He's not a very
evangelical.
sacramental Jesus. And Jesus is very sacramental. I really strongly believe Catholics should not let go of the fact that Jesus founded a religion. He wasn't just a nice guy. He founded a religion, and it's a sacramental religion that involves sacrifice. And that's what religion is.
So you've seen The Chosen?
I've only seen one episode.
Okay,
because that's the critique of it.
You certainly know Jesus. I was wondering if you had a concrete example of that.
No. I'm just saying it was controversial. But that was the controversy around it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And also, there's the big swearing episode where no, that's not really true. They don't have that.
So, are we talking TV shows now, or is that a movie?
Well,
that's a TV show.
It's a single category, right?
I'm sorry. We did your best TV show or movie.
Or movie. I'm sorry. I thought it was and.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Yeah.
You got a TV show too?
Yeah.
Oh.
You got to go ahead. Give us a TV show.
Bachelor in Paradise.
That's not. You're lying.
No, it's fantastic. If you want to see a world completely devoid
of morals,
of anything that we hold precious, and realize how blessed we are as Catholics to have our faith, watch Bachelor in Paradise, like I do.
I think that was he's kidding. I don't think he really means that.
Darren, give us a face.
I'm not. Yeah, give us pull a face, Darren. Let me know. Do I need to hit the dump button on this? Mother Teresa, No Greater Love, or that was a movie. People liked that a lot. Mm-hmm. People also liked Yellowstone. I have not seen Yellowstone. Anybody seen Yellowstone? People liked that. I don't know if that's. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. Blue Bloods. That's the. Tom Selleck one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, people really like that.
Wow.
And I'm glad they do. The Journey Home, that really is a good show. That really is a good show. I'm with them on that. Some of these I don't want to say them just because I don't know what they are, and they might be doing a Tim Ryland on me. Bachelor in Paradise, really? Somebody wrote up until November 8th, Newsmax. What does that mean?
Wow.
Is Newsmax a TV show or a TV channel?
It's a news channel.
Oh, the Newsmax. Oh, yeah, I know about it. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, but is it getting canceled?
Post-election? Did they go soft post-election?
Yeah.
Oh, is that what it? But there wasn't an election in 2022. The election was there? Oh yeah, this election.
There was.
Oh yeah, that election.
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. I got a little. It's time for a break. It's time for a break.
Google it, Cy.
It's time for a break. Cy forgot there was an election 1 month ago. And I think that's enough movies and TV, unless you want to say another one.
I'm good.
No, nothing? All right, we'll take a quick break, and we're going to come back and reveal the Catholic Person of the Year.
Woo.
You're listening to Catholic Answers Live.
Underwriting for Catholic Answers Live is provided by Real Estate for Life. Real Estate for Life connects homebuyers and sellers to real estate agents while supporting pro-life organizations. On the web at realestateforlife.org.
The most original and exclusive Catholic content is on EWTN Radio.
What a great grace it is to have the opportunity to use the airwaves for the honor and glory of God, to be able to talk to the hearts of individuals and meet them where they are in their relationship with our Lord, and also to encourage them forward.
Women of Grace with Johnette Williams. Tomorrow morning, 11 a.m. Eastern on EWTN Radio.
A lot of people think that street evangelization involves yelling out of a bullhorn telling people that they're going to hell. Not so with St. Paul Street Evangelization. Our methods are non-confrontational and effective. We simply offer information on the Catholic faith along with rosaries, miraculous medals, and prayer. Pope Francis wrote about how beautiful it is to see street preachers joyfully bringing Jesus to every corner of the earth. Street evangelization is fun and fruitful. Join us today at streetevangelization.com.
Welcome back to Catholic Answers Live, and Merry Christmas. We are in the 5th day of Christmas. We're doing our end-of-year programming today and tomorrow, where we take the answers to the Catholic Answers end-of-year survey, and we talk about them with people that we really like. And we have Tim Ryland with us and Todd Agliolaro with us. And Darren is running the board and just informed us of something very important. We probably should have done a whole hour on this, Darren. Darren believes that when he was younger, in his flag football playing days before he had 5 children, he once played flag football against Father Stu. Is that what you were telling us, Darren? Oh, you were on the same team as Father Stu. Oh. I'm assuming this was before he got ill, because you definitely would have won against later Father Stu. But how did this happen? That you, he was going to Steubenville and you were going to Steubenville. Are there any good Catholics anymore who didn't go to Steubenville at some point? Did you both go to Steubenville?
I did. And
you did?
Tim saw.
I did not.
All right. Well, that gives me
I went
some
to
hope
USD.
for myself.
I went out to local, not really
That
Steubenville,
used to be a Catholic university.
school.
Yeah. All right. So what are we doing? The biggest Catholic news story of the year. I got to find it. I don't know what I did with it. Come on, Cyril. Where's the biggest Catholic? Well, while I'm looking for it, will you guys guess what the biggest Catholic news story of the year is? Oh, I found it. Is that a no? You're not going to guess, or are you thinking it through right now?
Again, trying to put myself in the mentality of, I'm treating this like a game more than anything else now. So I want to win.
Yeah, you want to, right?
And the stakes are higher. Is the Synod the biggest Catholic news story? We'll go back to the Synod.
As a matter of fact, the Synod is not, and it did not appear in many responses.
Wow.
The Synod is not big on Catholic news story of the year. I think Shia LaBeouf got more.
Wow.
Did I say that right? Shia LaBeouf? How am I supposed to say it? I always get it wrong.
LaBeouf.
Noted cannibal.
No, he's not a cannibal. Is he?
I saw on the internet that he was.
No. The internet is full of things that are not true. Cardinal Zen was mentioned a few times because he got imprisoned in Hong Kong. Vandalism of Catholic churches got mentioned a few times, but none of these are the winners.
Cardinal Pell getting out of jail?
Was that in 2022? Nobody mentioned that.
So.
I don't know if no, that didn't get mentioned. Really, the big Catholic story. Nothing?
Tell us.
And the winner is
Roe versus Wade.
Oh, that was my answer. I was saving that for my own answer.
Oh, you thought you were the only one that thought of Roe versus Wade?
I thought I was the only one with that level of insight among in the entire listening population.
Dobbs versus Jackson.
What? Yeah, right. Dobbs versus Jackson, the overturning of Roe versus Wade. Why is that a Catholic story?
It's a Catholic story for several reasons. One, because preponderance of the pro-life Catholic justices are either Catholic or they're formed in a Catholic mindset,
right.
a legal and philosophical and even religious mindset. Secondly, because the Catholic Church has been the constant warrior on the pro-life front for decades, many decades, and this victory over institutionalized legal abortion in this country is the Church's victory.
Amen. 100% amen to that. You perfectly said.
Did I make up for not winning getting the other answer right?
No, yeah, you won the whole show.
All right,
Tim Ryland lost.
Do I get a mug?
He lost. Yeah, you can have a mug. You can have a Catholic Answers mug. I have to clean them first, though. However, Tim, what do you think?
Did you clean my mug?
No, no. You brought that mug with you.
No, I didn't
you
actually,
didn't?
but it's okay.
Oh, all right.
What do I think?
Yeah, Roe v. Wade.
How can I not agree with
what Todd just said?
What Todd just said.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's absolutely. And again, it's pushing us, hopefully, towards subsidiarity. We keep, touching on that, but there's so much wisdom in that. It's like, okay, let's take it back to the states. Let's take it back to the local. And a lot of states are going to make the wrong decision, but so you move to states that make the right decision. I mean, it certainly is
but
where it belongs.
You take the fight to states.
Yes.
And you fight.
That made the wrong decision, and you're able to enact legal reform in a much more nimble way on the lower levels. That's the whole point of subsidiarity.
Yes. So I think maybe we're moving in that direction in that field as well.
Over the years, there's been wonderful pro-life bishops, wonderful pro-life priests, but this is primarily a victory for the laity. The laity led on this. There have been, and I don't mean to insult any wonderful pro-life bishops, but there have been plenty of very lukewarm bishops, even bishops who were somewhat hostile to those nutty pro-life Catholics,
rosary twirlers who
turned out to win the most important political battle of this millennium thus far.
And their fidelity, the laity's fidelity and witness on the pro-life question, has also had ramifications in ecumenism and apologetics. The so-called ecumenism of the trenches, where Protestants and Catholics make common cause in social activism, is nowhere more evident than it has been in the pro-life arena. And I've known many, probably more than I could count on two hands, Protestants who became Catholic or became at least favorably disposed, and they're on a journey toward the church because of the tireless witnesses in front of the clinics on a Saturday morning, because of the church's unwavering devotion to this truth.
That's when the church is what she should be, when she lives as was founded to live. Then there's a whole circle of people around her who can find a focus and leadership for what they believe in. And I am so proud of lay Catholics that they allied themselves with atheists, with other non-believers, with every kind of religion, every kind of non-religion, and certainly when in the trenches with our Protestant brothers and sisters, our Orthodox brothers and sisters. That's how Catholic political action is supposed to work. We're supposed to be out there in an uncompromising way, but in an inviting way so that other people can join in that fight. And I'm sure there are many people who will meet Jesus who didn't have a public declaration of the Catholic faith, who nonetheless cooperated so beautifully with this Catholic political movement that in many ways they will be presented to Jesus as more Catholic than many of the rest of us, and it will be saved because of that. We'll be saved. It's a beautiful, beautiful victory. There is no downside to it.
And Todd would never mention this, so I tend to that here's a man who spent some time in jail with Operation Rescue, so he's definitely putting his body where his mouth and spirit are. So
Todd, I never knew you did your nickel.
Long time ago. Yes,
he's reformed since.
I'm glad that you are. Well, there's really not even a close second. I mean, Roe v. Wade overwhelmed on that, so not even a close second. So let's go to Catholic Person of the Year, because it's now time to reveal the Catholic Person of the Year. You,
I guessed Archbishop Cordileone.
You were going, but you just didn't want to say the same thing that Todd said, so you went with.
I changed my answer. I think I'm just going to say Baron Schmitz, etc. You do all right then,
because Father Mike Schmitz again was among the he wasn't the winner, but he was among the top group, because people really love what Father Mike Schmitz does, and that he is he just comes across, I think, to people as a good priest doing what a priest is supposed to do,
and with joy.
Yeah. And my personal experience of him is that's no BS. That's just exactly what he is. He just comes across as. And now I will tell you a story my wife told me not to tell on air. She did the Bible in a year with Father Mike.
Oh.
And she told me she couldn't finish it because it was so bad at the end. She said the last month of it, they sped up the sound on it, and his voice was so high-pitched and it was going so fast that she couldn't finish the year with Father Mike. And I said, let me see the app. And she had changed the speed of it to 2 times the speed. But she didn't know that she had done it. So I said, I think you can finish now. And she said, if you talk about that on the air,
Somebody call Missy
I
right
said,
now.
You know I'm going to talk about it on the air. Like, there's no way I'm not telling that story on the air. I'm going to tell that repeatedly. I'm going to get so much mileage out of that. So, yeah.
In her defense, she can get to the office without the help of a cell phone. So,
well, she's better than me in some ways. Yeah. So she was so disturbed by this. She said, "Why would they speed it up? You can't even hardly listen to." And she doesn't talk like that. She didn't say you can't even hardly, but why would they speed it up? She was mad at Ascension Press and everybody. And I was like, at some point, dear, you hit a button, and you are now listening to Father Mike at double speed every day.
The Bible in 6 months.
Yeah. So Jimmy Akin got 5 votes.
Hey,
Jimmy. Yeah. Justice Barrett.
Oh gosh.
Coney Barrett, I guess.
Great guess. Great.
Got 6 votes.
Why?
What are you saying? Why?
Well, it seems like she, for the longest time, was just silent on all this stuff. She finally seems to be coming around and making good decisions. I don't know. It seemed like she was with a whimper, but not a bang, coming into the Supreme Court.
Huh.
But she's a Catholic woman who overturned Roe v. Wade.
Well, where do you want, man?
She's a Handmaid's Tale.
Yeah. Boy, you are tough, man.
I'm sorry.
There was swearing in the movie, and Justice Barrett didn't speak up enough. Well, you are a tough audience.
I am.
I do not want to know what you think. But Pope Francis got 7 votes.
Okay.
Pope's.
Did you get any?
I got 9 votes.
Yes.
I outdid
what
Pope
we're talking
Francis by
about.
2 votes, and my personal favorite vote of any vote given was the person who wrote "Sigh, comma, they underestimate him." I thought, yes, this person gets it. This person gets what's going on.
That
around
should be
here.
your tattoo.
Yeah, I should get "Sigh, comma, they underestimate him." I don't know who they are. I don't know in what way they underestimate, but they underestimate.
Let's show them.
That person nailed it. I did not get Father Mike got more votes than I did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And the winner for Catholic Person of the Year, primarily, often coming with a description because he stood up for life against a pro-life Catholic politician, Archbishop of San Francisco, Salvatore Cordileone.
Give me that mug.
That's right, Salvatore Cordileone.
We called him Sal back in the days at USG.
Sam was what his
Did you play
family called
flag
him.
football with him?
Did you?
You were contemporaries, right?
You wouldn't believe his language back then.
You did not play flag
Yeah, no,
football.
he was about 3 years ahead of me. I had a couple of philosophy classes with him, but he was always smiling. Smiling Sal is what we called him.
Yeah, I served on the diocesan curia with him here in San Diego.
Wow.
And my impression of him, low-key, quiet, fearless.
Yep.
Just not afraid of anything. He's just
What does Cordileone mean?
The heart of a lion.
You got it.
But I believe it's the heart of a lion, or it means the head of the 5 families, or something. Is that? Well, that's Cordileone, right?
That's Corleone.
But it's the
Without
Corleone.
the D.
Oh, but it's the same thing, right? Corleone, like that's the heart of a lion.
Right? It's just the of. I think the D is of in Italian.
Yeah.
Cordileone.
So
Anyway.
lion, heart, lion.
So people really appreciated that.
He's a good man.
I mean, I have to be honest with you. He did not get as many votes as the guy who threw the Pachamama in the river the year he won. There was,
Both times.
It wasn't quite as clear a winner, but
he should throw Pelosi in the river.
No, you can't say that.
Sorry.
You're getting out of control now. You're
Okay.
out of control. Ever
I'll
since
stop.
we discussed Father Stu. But no, you can say that. I'm only teasing. Okay. But I feel like this is deserved. That it does seem to me that people want some strength out of bishops and some clarity out of bishops, and this is evidence of strength and clarity. I also think he gets some credit because I don't know if this went into people's thinking, but he also wanted people to be able to go to Mass and stood up to the state of California on that during the COVID stuff. And maybe not in the way that, I think there's a lot of people who after 2 weeks of 2 weeks to change the curve were done with it. And Cordileone, he's a measured, reasonable, responsible person, and so but he did get around to it.
You saw that measured quality in the way that he handled the Pelosi business. I think we can presume, I think we know that he made many personal, private overtures to her first,
right?
Which as her pastor, as her shepherd, he ought to do. But then he waited. he waited until Congress began to act.
May I add one thing?
Yeah.
He asked people to pray and fast for her. He sent her roses.
10,000 roses.
So there was more to his measured response.
Yeah, so any kind of criticism, and of course there were many criticisms that came of him in the aftermath, any kind of criticism that makes it seem as if he was being a loose cannon or just being mean or knee-jerk in his he was anything but. He was utterly methodical.
Yeah.
And gave the speaker every opportunity. But it was only until she acted in a way that made her personally culpable in her leadership of the Congress
that he said that.
That he acted. And
yeah, I think that's a very good description of how measured he was.
Just being pro-abortion was not enough.
There are reasonable people who would not have done what he did. And I've heard them make the arguments, and I don't want to dismiss them as if every bishop should do exactly what he did, but I do think he was methodical. He thought it through well. He tried to do it in the most charitable way he did, and he ended up, I think, in the right place. But I gotta say thanks, Tim Ryland, Todd Aguilaro. God bless you both.
Of course.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, and have a Happy New Year.
See you tomorrow,
Amen.
God willing, for another episode, Catholic Answers Live.